All right, welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at brown adipose tissue, or BAT,
Okay.
and specifically we're going to be talking about non-invasive ways to assess it, which I know you're interested in.
Yeah.
And we're going to be looking at this review article, which is just packed with information about
Hmm.
all the different ways that people are researching BAT.
Oh, great.
So you ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Okay, great. So first things first, can you give us a quick rundown of what BAT is and why it's causing such a buzz in this metabolic health world?
Yeah, so brown adipose tissue, it's pretty fascinating. For a while, it was thought that it was just this insignificant leftover from infancy
Right.
and just thought to be important for keeping babies warm. But it turns out adults have it too.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually plays a much more crucial role than we initially thought.
Okay, so this isn't just your typical fat.
No, not at all. Unlike white fat, which stores energy, brown fat is actually packed with mitochondria. And those are the powerhouses of our cells. And they're responsible for burning energy to generate heat.
Mm-hmm.
And this process is called thermogenesis. And this is what makes BAT so unique.
That's so interesting. So we actually have fat that can help us burn calories.
That's right.
No wonder people are excited about it.
Yeah.
So what would you say are the biggest challenges in measuring BAT? How are scientists going about this?
Yeah, so you hit the nail on the head. Accurately assessing BAT is crucial for understanding its potential for treating obesity and metabolic disorders.
Right.
And right now, the gold standard is PTCT scanning.
Okay.
And this method uses a radioactive tracer
Uh-huh.
that allows us to actually see BAT when it's actively burning energy, like after exposure to cold.
Wow, so they can really see it in action.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I imagine there are some drawbacks to that, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. There are some limitations with that. Radiation exposure is a concern.
Of course.
And it only captures peak activity at a specific moment in time.
Wow.
So what we really need are ways to measure BAT non-invasively
Yeah.
and get a clearer picture of its overall function.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And the article mentions a whole bunch of different ways that people are going about doing that.
Yeah.
So what are some of the most promising contenders in this quest for a non-invasive BAT assessment?
Yeah. So there are a variety of different avenues that researchers are exploring right now.
Uh-huh.
You've got different types of PET scans that are being refined to try to reduce radiation exposure.
Okay.
Single photon emission imaging, which uses a different type of radioactive tracer.
Okay.
Then there are techniques like CT scans, which are good for visualizing structure, and several MRI approaches that are being developed that leverage differences in tissue composition to identify and quantify BAT.
So MRI without the radiation, that sounds great.
It is. And MRI can also provide a lot more detailed information, not just about the location of BAT, but also its composition, which could give insights into its activity level.
Interesting.
There's also, contrast-enhanced ultrasound, near-infrared spectroscopy, which uses light to analyze tissues.
Okay.
And even simply measuring the temperature in fat deposits.
Wait, so just by measuring temperature, they could potentially tell how much beat activity someone has.
Exactly.
How does that even work?
So the concept is based on the fact that BAT generates heat when it's active.
Right.
So by measuring the temperature of specific fat deposits,
Yeah.
researchers believe that they might be able to get an indication of BAT activity. However, this method is still in its early stages, and more research is needed to validate its accuracy and reliability.
So it sounds like each one has its, advantages and disadvantages.
Absolutely.
What are some of the biggest hurdles that you think researchers are facing as they try to refine these techniques?
Yeah, I mean, a significant challenge is translating findings from preclinical models, meaning studies done in animals, to humans. BAT function can vary significantly between species. So, what works in a lab mouse might not translate perfectly to humans.
Right, of course.
And then there's just the ongoing quest for accuracy and reliability. We need techniques that provide consistent, meaningful data that can be applied in clinical settings.
Absolutely. It sounds like a huge puzzle, and we're just trying to figure out all the pieces.
That's a great way to put it.
So what would you say is the takeaway for our listener?
Well, BA is undoubtedly a promising area of research for addressing obesity and metabolic issues. Accurately assessing it is crucial for unlocking its full potential.
Right.
And researchers are making strides in developing non-invasive, reliable methods. And while we're not there yet, The progress is exciting, and the future of BAT-based therapies is looking bright.
That's very exciting. So I guess one question for our listeners to think about is, given the challenges of accurately measuring BAT in humans, what ethical considerations might arise if BIT-based therapies become widely available?
That's a good one.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, and we'll see everyone next time.